Hello, welcome to Join Our Town. I'm Sherry Duckworth, and joining me today is attorney Michelle May O'Neill, and we just thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me, Sherry.
And you're here to talk about an issue that, we're all very familiar with. We all have friends or ourselves have been in a situation where we've been in a divorce and have been in court talking about child support. And there's lots of questions that go along with that, and fears and concerns.
Sure.
And a lot of people are struggling today economically, job loss and so forth. How is that affecting, let's say, some of the people that you're seeing in the community today, some of the parents who are struggling with their jobs and maybe aren't able to meet the request of the court for their child support payments?
Well, the economy is certainly hitting single-parent families very hard, harder than other families or other people. And we have seen an uptick in child support litigation. We've seen a rise in not only people asking for more child support because maybe they're having trouble in other areas meeting their needs, but also in people that are paying child support asking for a decrease. Definitely an increase in those types of litigation with people struggling, with the economy.
Sure. What's available for someone who owes child support, but they don't have a job right now, or there's setbacks, and maybe they're not making as much as they were before because they had to get a job that doesn't pay as much? What happens at that point to that person?
The best thing for that person to do would be to ask the court to modify the order. An order regarding a child is modifiable until the child turns 18 or until he or she graduates from high school, whichever is later. So someone that's having trouble meeting their expenses can go to the court and file a modification lawsuit and ask the judge to make those changes. He or she would have to show that there has been a substantial change of circumstances with regard to their income or some other circumstance. And they would also have to show that the change is in the best interest of the child. But those changes, those modifications are available to parents who are struggling.
And of course, on the other side of it, you have the parent who's now no longer going to be able to receive if the judge, says, okay, I understand it is in the best interest, which takes me back, actually, let's step back one. What has been the more common response from judges to these particular, situations? Are you seeing them say, okay, yes, we'll accommodate, or, have they been a little bit, strict about it, let's say?
Yeah. It depends on the judge. I've seen some that are more strict, but more commonly, judges know what the economy is. They know what's going on, in the community. And they have been tending to be, understanding of parents and their problems with the current job market. Normally, under normal economy and normal circumstances, a judge would have kind of two options: either grant the relief or deny the relief. But what we're seeing more often right now are judges who are granting kind of a temporary Band-Aid or a temporary relief, so that, maybe things are bad right now, but 4 months from now, 6 months from now, maybe things are a little better. So they'll grant a temporary order right now and leave the judges the flexibility to come back in 6 months and maybe make another order that suits the family's needs in 6 months, as opposed to granting a final order, which would then require the parents to file another lawsuit whenever things changed again.
Okay. So if dad, loses his job and he's between jobs, then he can go in. The judge might say, okay, give you 6 months till you can find something and you have steady income. Then you come back in, and they're going to change it again, because you're going to have, I'm using mom and dad. It could be flip-flopped, but, that's kind of the common, thought process for most of us. Saying, well, how am I going to get little Billy's, lunch paid for, and how am I going to get his school supplies, et cetera, et cetera. So you have both sets of parents who obviously are going to be affected, and the child. So the judge has a lot to consider, and there's going to be a lot of, I heated discussion, I would say.
Right. No,
you know,
absolutely.
as to how to
I mean,
how to best go along. You know, but if the money's not there, the money's not there.
Exactly. And you know, children's expenses don't go away just because there's a recession.
Exactly.
But the judges have to consider, you know, what's kind of the whole situation in the context of what's best for the child. And, you know, maybe, you know, the child's expenses have to be cut to the extent possible to accommodate the problem, you know, that's existing in that family. But the temporary order, or, you know, kind of that temporary relief, does exactly what you said. If the father is out of work today, but 4 months from now has a job, maybe that job he's making less than he was before, but it's more than nothing. So the judge could, you know, give him a break now, maybe based on his unemployment wages or something. And then when he gets a job in 4 months, recalculate the child support and reestablish it so that things are a little better at that point.
Now, obviously, the right thing to do is to go and place an order, you know, put in an order. It sounds like we're going to go order McDonald's or something, but but you know what I mean. To go in and go ahead and talk to the judge, and that's the right way to do things. What about those who choose to or don't know any better, and they just stop paying because they've lost their job?
Well, you know, just stopping payment is absolutely the worst thing that a parent can do. A child support court order, like any court order, is enforceable by contempt. And that means that a person can go to jail for violating a court order. Say that somebody didn't pay for 6 months. That's 6 separate violations of the court order. And each violation is subject to a penalty of 6 months in jail and a fine. So it's very serious if you just don't pay. The better option is to pay what you can. You know, if you find yourself unemployed and you're